Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and every week I take a close look at the real estate market here in the Villages. I'm going to orient you as to where the Villages is located. We are in Central Florida. The map you're looking at is showing you all active listings on the MLS as of today. Size of the circle denotes the size of the home, and the color of the circle denotes its price per square foot. That will be the case for all these maps that I show you, and you can see that it does indeed locate each home individually. The Villages is a 55 plus community. We have golf courses spread throughout, championship and executive. We have recreation, shopping, dining, and live entertainment in four town squares every night of the week. If you want to know what's happening to the real estate market here, what long term trends are, where properties are selling, where they aren't selling, this is the show for you. I'm going to break the Villages into four distinct geographic regions so you can compare between them. And a couple of things to note, the Villages has two distinct real estate marketplaces, the MLS and the VLS. The VLS is the Village's own internal marketplace. It's the only place you'll find new listings, but pre-owned homes are both on VLS and MLS. So if you're a buyer and you're only seeing VLS or you're only seeing MLS, you're only seeing about half of the properties available for sale. All of the information I'm presenting here is drawn from the MLS. The other point is that we produce this show every Monday. Make sure you check the date to ensure you're getting the most recent information. And as you look at this video, you get some sense as to the wide variety of homes available here. But it's worth noting that whether you have the least expensive home or the most expensive home, you have the same use of the amenities: golf, pickleball, recreation centers, swimming pools, etc. If you need to reach me, I can be reached either at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to help you with any questions you have. If you're a buyer looking for a good deal, I think you'll find our data-driven approach will help you find one. And if you're a seller, I think you'll find our approach will help you justify the highest reasonable asking price. So with that out of the way, let's take a look at what's happening in the Villages real estate market this week. The value of real estate is often determined in large part by the cost of money, i.e., what mortgage rates are. And the mortgage rate for the 30-year mortgage most closely tracks this U.S. government bond yield, which is the 10-year note. I haven't been showing this in recent weeks because we've been fairly stagnant. But as you look at this, there are a couple of things I would like to point out to you. First, the low that you see in early 2020, that 3.98 is actually 0.398%, i.e. 0.4%, less than half a percent. We're currently at 4.3%. And to my eye, this chart looks like the yield is going higher, which would mean that interest rates would be going higher. You're looking here at the yield, not the price. Many people are talking about Trump putting pressure on Powell, or whoever the Fed chairman might be at the time, to lower interest rates. But I will point out to you that the only rate that the Fed directly influences is the overnight rate, short term rates. And the 30-year bond, I think, will react very badly if short term rates are lowered, because that would signal that inflation is more likely. And if you're lending money for 30 years, the inflation rate is a factor that's very important to you. You can look at this chart and form your own impression as to what the direction is. My opinion is that it looks as if rates are headed higher, but that opinion is worth just about what you've paid for it. Keep it in mind, though, if you're considering buying a house and then refinancing a couple of years at lower interest rates, you may find that that opportunity will not exist. Now we'll take a close look at the Villages real estate market, the MLS market, that is. Total listings are down again this week. We're down to 560 active listings. We were over 700 just a few months ago. This is encouraging. I'm going to show you a short-term chart to give you an idea as to what the recent trend direction is. Here we can look at the number of listings going back only 1 year. As you can see, the total number of listings is 560 this week, but this number, even though it has been falling recently, is still 21.5% higher than it was a year ago. Here we're looking at how long listings are staying on the market. This is the median number of days for all active MLS listings as of today, 69.5 days. Not as high as we've seen recently, but I don't need to point out to you that this is very close to the highest levels we've ever seen. This is one of the more popular charts that we have. This is the median list price per square foot for all active MLS listings. This week, 248.95. This is the lowest level we've ever seen. And I would also point out that the median price per square foot has dropped every week for each of the last 4 weeks. I'm going to give you a perspective on the different areas of the villages. I'll explain how I've broken the villages into 4 geographic areas. You can see all active listings on this map. This is as of today. The 560 dots on the map are each of the listings. The size of the circle denotes the size of the home. Bigger the circle, bigger the home. And the brighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. All of these maps are going to be size and per square foot numbers, but it is important to note that per square foot, although we focus on it as a metric, doesn't capture many of the things that village residents are willing to pay more for, things such as view, proximity to amenities, and most importantly, privacy. This is the first of the 4 areas, the area that I'm calling the North. This is everything south of Highway 42 and north of Highway 466. It includes the original part of the villages, and it includes Spanish Springs Town Square. This week, 251 active listings. The second area is the area I'm calling the Mid-North. This is everything south of 466 and north of 466A, commonly referred to here as between the sixes. Still one of the more popular parts of the villages due to its proximity to so many amenities. This week, 152 active listings. This area includes Lake Sumter Town Square. The third area is the area I'm referring to as the Mid-South. This is everything south of 466A and north of Highway 44. We're getting into the newer part of the villages here. This area includes Brownwood Town Square. 61 active listings this week. The fourth area is the newest part of the villages. This is everything south of Highway 44. This area includes the new Eastwood Town Square, and we have 96 active listings this week. Now that you have an idea as to where the different areas are located, let's take a look at how the prices vary between them. Here we're looking at the entirety of the MLS, 560 active listings this week. Sizes range from 793 square feet to 3968, and the median, as you can see, is 1522. You can also see minimum, maximum, and median for price and price per square foot for the villages as a whole. Now let's look at the individual areas. This is the same information I just showed you for the villages as a whole, but I've broken it down into the 4 geographic regions. You can see how many listings there are in each of the regions, what the size ranges are with the median size, the price ranges and the median price, and per foot and median price per square foot. The next two charts are designed to give you some perspective on what price ranges are popular here. You can see how many homes there are for sale in each of these price buckets. As you can see, the $300,000 to $400,000 range is the most popular with 201 active listings. There is no property for sale between $1,250,000 and $1,500,000, and only one property available over $1.5 million. Here's another perspective on the same information. We're looking at all active MLS listings. The median list price per square foot is $248.95, and you can see in each of these per square foot price buckets how many listings are active. 225 to 250 a foot is the most active segment currently with 163 active listings. 250 to 275, only 137 listings this week. And finally, before we leave listings, here's a perspective for those who are trying to decide whether to buy a new house or an older house that they want to remodel to their own tastes. You can see the year of construction for the homes that are available for sale. The entirety of the villages is on the right, the north, mid-south, and south on the left. And it's obvious looking at this data that construction has been moving south and really only began in the very south in around 2020. Here we look at what changed over the last 7 days, i.e., how many new listings entered the market and how many listings went pending and left the market. What you're looking at here is a 4-week average, positive 4.25. meaning more homes going pending than being listed. I'll show you the actual weekly data in the next chart. This chart shows you the difference between new listings and homes going pending every week going back 3 years. Over the last 7 days, 10 more listings went pending than were newly listed. The zero line represents as many homes going pending as being listed. Numbers above the zero line, more homes going pending than being listed. Numbers below the zero line, more homes being listed than going pending. Yeah, we try to get some sense as to urgency that buyers or sellers might be feeling, and we're looking at how long the homes that went pending over the last 7 days were on the market. 48 days, the median time, that's a 4 week average over the last 4 weeks, 48 days on the market. Yeah, we keep looking at homes that went pending over the last 7 days. We're looking at the 4 week average of the price at which they went pending. 244.57 is the 4 week average, but the actual level last week was 235.82, and the lowest level that we ever saw was 234.96 on the 11th of September of 2023. We're barely a dollar higher than that now. Here we're looking at the change from the original asking price for the homes that went pending last week. 6.68 was the median price reduction. It's interesting to note that 43 of the 46 homes that went pending last week had a reduction. And it's also interesting to note that even though the price change for the homes going pending was 6.68%, over the last 7 days, the change measured the same way for the homes that closed over the last 7 days was even higher at 8.58%, which is the reduction from the original asking price. This map shows you the location of each of the 56 homes that went pending over the last 7 days. You can see that activity still seems focused in the north and mid-north areas. Before we take a look at the homes that closed last week, let's take a look at how things changed in each of the four regions. You can see in the north, mid-north, mid-south, and south how many homes are actively on the market as of today, how many went pending over the last 60 days, and how many sold and closed over the last 60 days. If the number is an increase, it's highlighted in green. If it's a decrease, it's highlighted in red. But green and red do not denote positive and negative. If the number of listings increases and it's shown in green, that might not be seen as a positive. Now we're looking at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. This is a 4 week average, 35 and 3/4 homes closing per week on average over the last four. But it is interesting that last week the number of homes closing actually increased from 30 the prior week to 46 last week. Here we look at the homes closing last week and how long they were on the market prior to being taken off by going pending. The 4 week average of the median time on the market is 51 days for the homes closing last week. Here we're taking a close look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. The graph you're looking at is a smooth 4 week average, which is 235 a foot. But it's important to note that the actual value for last week was only 227 a foot, which is the third lowest level we've ever seen. The lowest we'd ever seen was 223 a foot on the 4th of August of this year. And the average of 235 is barely higher than the lowest average that we saw before, which was 234.50. People are always asking when a good time to buy or sell here would be. So we started this chart, which gives you some idea as to seasonal activity. You're looking at how many sales there are per week. The weeks of the year are the x-axis below, and the number of sales, the y-axis to the left. The red line is 2025. You can compare it to previous years, and you can see that we did have a bit of a bump last week, but the trend is probably lower in terms of number of sales for the next 2 months or so. This chart is designed to remove some of the fluctuations from the previous graph. You're looking at a 4 week average of these values. The red line is still 2025, even though it's marked incorrectly as Series 4. We are pretty closely following the same sales level trajectory as we have in the prior 2 years. And here we're looking at weeks of inventory. This is a week by week measure. You can see the prior months on the x-axis below, 16 and a half weeks of inventory, a little more than 4 months of inventory currently. It is worth noting that it was only around April of 2024 when 10 weeks of inventory seemed a more normal number. If you find this information informative or useful, please consider liking the video or even better, subscribing to the channel. We really would appreciate the encouragement. Here we're looking at listings once again, and we're looking at what percentage of listings have reduced their asking price from the original asking price. 58.39% of listings have. This is quite an improvement from the last month or two, but we're still much higher than the 50 to 55 level that seemed more normal just recently. And here we're looking at what the actual price reduction is. This is the median price reduction from the original asking price for all active MLS listings as of today, 4.53%, the median price reduction. If you're a buyer and you're trying to find a good deal here in the villages, or you're a seller and you're trying to maximize your return in a reasonable period of time, please reach out to me at either DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to research properties for you, answer questions about life in Central Florida or life in the villages itself. If you have any questions, once again, DavidisinFlorida.com, DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Please reach out if you have any questions. Hope to hear from you. Take care.